It's Tony from Chi-Town Constrictors. I apologize that it's been so long since my last video. I know that I was going to keep you guys updated regularly, and I've really failed you on that one. It's been a very busy couple of months. Personal life stuff, Tinley, work. It's been very busy. I apologize for that. I have a lot to update you guys on. We've come a long way since the last video that you guys saw. The last video, you may remember, my female wasn't even ready to breed. She was only at, I think, 7.5 millimeters. Up to today, being the first week of December, she's almost ready to ovulate. So I have a lot of stuff to update you guys on, show you exactly what happened in the process. I've been taking videos, I just haven't had time to put them all together for you guys and show you, but I have been taking videos to show you the step-by-step, so why don't we go take a look. So in the last video where we left off was I had ultrasounded my female and she was only 7.5 millimeters, which is nowhere near ready for breeding. Usually prime I want them to be at least 16 millimeters or so. She was 7.5, so needless to say she was nowhere near ready. I gave her a couple of meals, I let her shed, and then I went ahead and I threw the male in just to get her started. Now, I want to sidetrack for just a second, and I want to be the first one to say that an ultrasound is absolutely not necessary for breeding boas. I made the mistake last year, and it kind of hurt my season that I got the ultrasound. It was new to me, and I relied on it way more than I should have. I should have just stuck with my gut, the information and the knowledge that I had, the reading, experience, talking to other breeders. In my history, that's gotten me a lot farther than the ultrasound has in the year and a half that I've had it. My season really reflected it because I only had a couple of litters last year. So an ultrasound is absolutely not necessary, and you cannot use it to rely on and make your season any more effective than what you know right here. It is a nice tool to have for something like this, and I'm going to show you guys why in just a second, where you're not going to waste your male's energy for nothing. That's especially important when you're using young males. Everybody knows that I like to breed males young sometimes, 18 months, 20 months, and you can, and I've done this way more times than I like to admit, unfortunately, you can overbreed them and actually kill them if you breed them too much, too hard, and they expend way too much energy. So the ultrasound is nice to have for that aspect, where if your female's not ready, you don't put the male in and he's not wasting energy for nothing. That's awesome to have. But other than that, it's essentially worthless, because once that I know my female's ready, throw the male in, let him do his thing, and I pretty much don't have to use the ultrasound for the rest of the breeding season. So this is the male that I've got picked out for her. He's an absolutely beautiful Pastel Dream Monster Tail Hypo Jungle. He's not het for VPI at all, but he's extremely colorful, very bright colored, great pattern. You can really see that he's a really top-notch male. So I'm hoping to be able to make more like him and make them in het VPI. So what I've done here is I've made a chart to show you guys the progression through the ultrasound of how she's progressed. On September 10th, when I made the last video, like I said, she was 7.5 millimeters. Nowhere near ready to breed. I did go ahead and I fed her a couple of times, like I said. I let her go into a shed cycle, and then I introduced the male. So the male's been breeding her for over a month already at this point. So after being bred, September 30th, she was 13 millimeters. October 10th, 15 millimeters. So a month went by, and she doubled in size from 7.5 to 15, but that would have been an entire month that he burned his energy breeding her. And again, I did put him in, and that's as far as she made it. She only doubled in size over the course of a month. So he wasted a lot of energy breeding her every single day to only get to 15 millimeters. Like I said, I don't even like to introduce a male until after they're at 15 millimeters. And that's why the ultrasound comes in handy, because I would have never even put him in. But it took a month's worth of work to even get her to that point. So then October 19th, she got up to 16 millimeters, and only over the last 10 days or so, today is October 27th, now all of a sudden she's really starting to progress, and it happens a lot faster. So once that a male gets her and kind of kicks her into gear, those follicles will grow a lot faster once she actually gets stimulated, but it took her a while to even get that point. And that's where the ultrasound comes in handy, because I wouldn't have wasted a month of his energy for nothing had I not known, but I did it for the sake of this video and to show you guys what exactly I do and how the ultrasound does come in handy and what it may or may not do. So we're going to fast forward a little bit here, guys. As you can see, there is actually now a second male in there. You can see way in the back here is the original male that I showed you guys that I was going to introduce. And on top of that is another male. It's a VPI IMG Sunglow Jungle that I've also introduced. So now I've got two males in with her. The reason for that is the original male that I introduced, I don't know if he started to burn himself out or if he's just losing interest, but over the last 2 or 3 weeks he's really started to slow down on breeding, and honestly he hasn't touched her much at all. And when that happens, if the female hasn't ovulated yet, she's no longer being stimulated, and she may start to reabsorb her follicles and not give us any babies at all. So I threw a secondary male in there, which will sometimes create a bit of a competition and get both males to breed. They may both work her, or the second male may take over and just continue breeding from there. So the obvious question that you might be thinking is, what if both dads breed her and both of them end up getting babies out of her? How are you going to know what's what? Well, once upon a time, I was known as the king of split litters, where I have a habit of doing this, where I breed 2 males to 1 female, and I've done it with great success. But you have to do it a very certain way, because sometimes you may not know what the babies are. In this case, this will be very easy to tell what's what, because the mom is obviously a visual sunglow. The hopeful dads are either one, a visual VPI sunglow as well, or the other one doesn't have VPI at all. So the babies are going to come out either looking normal colored, being, when I say normal, I mean not VPI T positive, or they will come out being a visual T positive. So anything visual is obviously going to come from the VPI IMG Sunglow Jungle. Anything that's not a visual VPI is obviously going to be from the Pastel Dream Monster Tail Hypo Jungle. So these will be very easy to tell what's what. So this is the screen of the ultrasound. I just got done checking her, as you saw. Right here you can see a huge oval spot where it's dark, and if you look really closely you can see around the edges where it actually stops, and over there as well. So I've already measured it a few different times. I like to measure it from different directions just to make sure that I get an accurate reading. And the biggest one, which is the first one, which is this line going on an angle here, is 35 millimeters. Going directly across here, it's 33 millimeters. So today's December 4th, she's at somewhere in the 33, 35 range, so she's still continuing to progress, but it's slowed down a little bit. Maybe that's because, like I said, the male has stopped breeding her, so she's no longer being stimulated, so I went ahead and threw another male in to hopefully keep her going. So that's where we're at as of right now. She's mid to high 30s as far as follicle size. The second male that I introduced has been breeding her really hard, so hopefully he's going to continue to push her to grow those follicles. Ovulation usually happens around 40 to 45 millimeters. Every female that I've seen is different, but I've been able to track it that it's always in that range somewhere. I've got a lot of really cool stuff going this year that I'm going to show you guys, a lot of really cool pairings. A couple that I'm not going to show maybe until the babies are born, I don't know yet, we'll see. But the ones that I am going to show you guys are really going to like, so stay tuned. I'm going to try to get the next video out a lot sooner than it took this one. Again, I apologize for that, but I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one again.